You have more power than you think. Right now, you may feel stuck, tired, or unsure. But deep inside, there's a part of you that still wants more. That part of you still believes in something better. That part of you is your dream, and no one else will chase it for you. No one else will build it. If you don't fight for it, it simply won't happen. Every day is a chance to get up and do something that brings you closer to it. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be yours. Stop waiting for the right time. There is no perfect time. What matters is that you start, that you try, that you keep showing up. Because the life you want is not given to you. It's earned through effort, through belief, and through a decision to never let your dreams slip away. Start today. Number 1. Decide your dream is more important than comfort. If there's one thing I learned that changed the direction of my life, it's this. The moment you decide that your dream matters more than your comfort, everything begins to shift. Not all at once, not like magic, but slowly, steadily, one hard choice at a time. It's easy to say you want something. It's easy to talk about what you're going to do. But life doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you do. And comfort keeps you where you are. Comfort whispers that you're okay right here. It tells you that you can try tomorrow. It says you've had a long day and done enough. But your dream, your real dream, it doesn't come to you while you're sitting in comfort. It doesn't visit you when you're avoiding effort. It's built in the middle of discomfort, struggle, sacrifice, and consistent action. That's where the dream lives. That's where you find out what you're made of. You have to decide, not wish, not hope. Decide. That means you shut the door on excuses. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop letting the easy path win. Because if comfort is your top priority, you'll give up the moment things feel hard. You'll hit one wall and turn around. But if your dream is your top priority, you'll keep going. You'll climb over that wall. You'll find another way. And that changes everything. People often want to know how to stay motivated. They ask how to stay consistent. They think they need more inspiration, or better conditions, or a little more time. But what they really need is to make a firm decision that they're done choosing comfort over progress, that they're ready to stop settling, that they're tired of the same old life, and they're ready to build a better one. Because once you decide, you stop asking for permission. You stop explaining yourself. You stop waiting for someone to believe in you. You believe in you, and that's enough. When I first started building a better life for myself, I was scared. I was unsure. I had no certainty it would work out. But what I did have was a decision. I told myself I can't keep living this way. I know there's more. I know I can do better, and I'm willing to pay the price. That decision didn't make everything easy, but it made it clear. I stopped letting comfort guide my schedule. I stopped letting fear dictate my actions. I started doing what needed to be done, not just what I felt like doing. Some days I was tired. Some days I didn't want to get up early. I didn't want to work late. I didn't want to stretch myself or feel out of place or risk failure. But I reminded myself this is what you chose. You chose the dream. You chose growth. You chose to rise. And rising doesn't come with comfort. It comes with discipline. It comes with sacrifice. It comes with stretching past where you used to stop. You have to be honest with yourself. Ask the real question. Do I want to feel comfortable, or do I want to change my life? Because most of the time, you can't have both. You can rest, or you can rise. You can repeat the same day over and over, or you can break that cycle and step into something bigger. But the moment you choose to rise, comfort will fight back. It will try to pull you into old habits, into old patterns. It will tempt you with temporary relief. That's when you have to stand your ground and remind yourself why you started. The human mind is powerful, but it needs direction. It needs clarity. If you keep telling yourself you'll do it when it's easier, you'll wait forever. If you keep saying you're not ready, you'll never move. But when you tell yourself this matters more than my comfort, your actions begin to match your words. You'll find the time, you'll make the effort, you'll find a way. Comfort is familiar, but it's not fulfilling. And if you're honest, you already know that. You already know what staying the same feels like. You already know the frustration of avoiding your potential. You already know what it's like to put things off and watch opportunities pass. The question is, how much longer do you want to feel that way? How long will you keep choosing comfort over the life you could build? This isn't about being hard on yourself. It's about being real with yourself. Growth hurts. Change is uncomfortable, but regret hurts a whole lot more. And if you don't fight for your dream, no one else will. People might encourage you, they might support you, but they can't do the work for you. They can't carry the weight. They can't walk the path. Only you can. So when the alarm goes off and you don't feel like getting up, get up anyway. When you feel tired but you still have work to do, keep going anyway. When you feel nervous, unsure, afraid, move anyway. That's how you build something real. That's how you prove to yourself that you mean it. That this isn't a wish, it's a decision. Some people wait for the right mood. They wait to feel ready. But the most successful people I've met, the ones who made something of their lives, they didn't wait for comfort. They started before they felt ready. They moved forward when it was inconvenient. They said no to distraction. They said no to laziness. They made their dream more important than their old habits. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. But you do need to start. You do need to commit. You do need to act. If you want to wake up a year from now and be proud of the steps you took, it starts with one simple but powerful decision that your dream is more important than your comfort. And once you make that decision, everything else becomes clear. You'll stop chasing quick fixes. You'll stop falling for shortcuts. You'll stop quitting when things get tough. You'll become the kind of person who keeps promises to yourself. The kind of person who shows up when no one's watching. The kind of person who builds the life they once only talked about. It won't be easy, but easy doesn't build strength. Easy doesn't change lives. You're stronger than you think. And when you start living by that decision, when you place your dream above your comfort, you'll feel something shift inside you. Not all at once, but enough to know you're moving. Enough to know you're growing. Enough to know that for the first time in a long time, you're finally on your way. Number 2, wake up early and chase what matters to you. Waking up early is not just about getting a head start on the day. It's a commitment to your priorities. It's a way to declare that your life matters enough to begin it with purpose and control. The world is filled with noise and demands that pull you in every direction. But when you rise early, you take the first hour for yourself. You build clarity before chaos begins. You claim that space as your own and decide what kind of day you want to create. Most people never do this. They wait until the world wakes them up. They rush, they react, they fall behind. They spend their mornings scrambling and their days trying to catch up. That's not how you build a meaningful life. That's how you survive, not how you grow. When you wake up early by choice, not by pressure, you give yourself time to move toward what matters. You don't wait to feel ready. You get up and take the first step. That early hour is your chance to focus on your dream before distractions begin. It's when you read, reflect, plan, build, and work on something that belongs only to you. No emails, no calls, no noise, just you and the next right step. It's hard, yes. Your bed will feel warm, your body will resist, but your future needs you up. Your progress depends on your choices, not your comfort. Waking up early is one of the few decisions that changes everything else. When you begin your day with structure, discipline follows. When you stop snoozing the alarm, you stop snoozing your goals. That one act teaches your mind that your dream comes before delay. Your priorities are not just written on paper, they're lived in action. And don't make the mistake of thinking you need to do something extraordinary in that early hour. You don't need to run 10 miles or write a book in one sitting. All you need to do is show up. You need to use that time wisely. Read a few pages of something that sharpens your thinking. Write down the goals that remind you where you're headed. Work on the skill that's going to separate you from the rest. Just one step, one block, one real focused effort that pushes you forward. When you do this daily, you create a rhythm, a pattern of self-leadership. You become the kind of person who doesn't wait for permission or ideal conditions. You don't wait to be motivated. You build your own reasons to move. You train your mind to serve the life you want, not the comfort you already have. Some people say they're not morning people. But being a morning person isn't something you're born with. It's something you decide. It's something you build. It's a signal to your brain that you are in charge now. That you refuse to keep sleeping through your life, because your goals aren't going to wait for you to feel like it. The opportunity won't stay around forever. The clock is ticking, whether you rise or not. If you keep waking up late and rushing into your day, you're starting from behind. And when you start from behind, you settle, you tolerate, you react, you operate from stress, not strength. But when you wake up early, you reset that. You get your head straight. You train your focus. You start calm and grounded. That changes how you handle pressure. That improves how you show up for the rest of the day. There's power in being up while the world sleeps. That quiet time gives you space to think, to breathe, to act without competition. You start owning your time instead of giving it away. You start setting the pace instead of letting someone else do it for you. You stop chasing the day and begin leading it. You won't always feel excited to wake up early. That's the truth. But you don't need to feel excited to do something important. You just need to value what's on the other side of that discipline. Ask yourself every night before bed, what matters more tomorrow, another hour of sleep, or one step closer to the life I want? That one question will tell you the truth about what you really want. You don't rise early because it's easy. You rise early because your goals are worth more than staying in bed. You don't get up because you have to. You get up because it matters. You build that habit every day until it becomes who you are. And over time, that simple habit transforms your confidence. It reshapes your mindset. It rewires your choices. The discipline of rising early spreads to other parts of your life. You eat better. You focus longer. You think clearer. You begin to carry yourself differently. You become someone who is in charge of their time, and people feel that. Opportunities feel that. Progress is built on that. It's not about how fast you move. It's about how consistently you show up when it matters most. You'll never regret the days you woke up early and gave your dream that extra time. You'll never look back and wish you had slept more instead of showing up for yourself. What you'll regret is waiting too long. What you'll regret is all the mornings you gave away for nothing. What you'll regret is not building what you could have built had you just started a little earlier. This world does not reward intention. It rewards follow-through. And waking up early is one of the clearest signs that you are serious. That you're not just interested in success, but committed to doing the work. Not someday, but today. Not when you feel like it, but now. You don't have to change your whole life overnight. You just have to wake up and use that first hour like it matters. Because it does. That hour sets the tone for everything else. That hour separates you from the crowd. That hour reminds you what you're fighting for. Every morning is a chance to prove to yourself that your dream still matters. That you're still in the game. That you won't be distracted. That you're here to build, not to wait. And when you start living like that, when you start giving your best before the world even starts moving, you become someone unstoppable. You become someone focused. You become someone who doesn't need to be reminded what matters, because you're chasing it every day, starting before the sun even rises. Number 3. Stop waiting for approval and move right now. One of the hardest truths to face is this. Most people will not understand your vision. They won't see what you see. They won't feel the same urgency you feel. And they don't have to. You were not given your dream so you could wait for everyone else to tell you it's okay to go after it. If you keep waiting for permission, you'll spend your life standing still. You'll watch years pass, holding back what you know you could have done. And that waiting, it never pays you back. You don't need another opinion. You don't need more people to say yes. You need to move. The world belongs to those who take action, not the ones who seek endless validation, not the ones who pause until the timing is perfect, the ones who rise and take the first step without applause, without support, without a cheering crowd. That's who creates change. That's who makes progress. Some people wait their entire lives for someone to say, "I believe in you." But here's what you have to understand. Belief has to start with you. No one can believe enough for you to succeed if you don't believe it yourself. Approval is temporary. It shifts. It fades. But conviction, that lasts. That carries you through the rough days. That drives you when no one is watching. Every time you hesitate because you're worried what others will say, you hand them the steering wheel to your life. Every time you shrink your plans to make someone else comfortable, you slow your growth. Every time you second-guess yourself because someone raised an eyebrow, you take a step away from your future. You were not born to live quietly. You were born to contribute, to push boundaries, to rise. No matter how much you try to please people, there will always be someone who doesn't get it, someone who questions your path, someone who doubts your choices. That's okay. They are not responsible for your journey. You are. They don't live with the consequences of your choices. You do. So why let their opinions hold the weight? Think about how many dreams have died because someone was afraid of judgment. How many ideas were never built because someone waited for their friends to agree. How many lives were never changed because someone needed more likes, more applause, more approval. That's not the life you want. That's not the story you want to tell. You don't need to announce your moves. You don't need to explain your path. Just move. Quietly, boldly, consistently. The ones who succeed are not the ones with the loudest support, but the ones with the strongest internal drive. They get up and do the work because they know what it means to them. Not because someone said it was a good idea. Not because they got praise. They act because they know what's at stake if they don't. And don't fall into the trap of comparing yourself. It's easy to think someone else had more support or more luck or more approval. But most of the time, what you see is only the surface. You don't see the years they worked in silence. You don't see the rejections. You don't see the doubt they faced alone. Every great story began with someone moving before they were ready, before they were celebrated, before they were even noticed. Waiting for permission delays everything. You don't need another green light. You don't need more credentials. You don't need someone else to say it's okay. Your life is your responsibility. Your goals are your responsibility. And if you don't act on them, no one else will do it for you. Every hour you wait is an hour you could have built something real. It doesn't matter how many people question you. It matters how many times you choose to keep going anyway. You're not here to be liked. You're here to become who you were meant to be. You're here to live a life that reflects your values, not someone else's doubts. The longer you wait to be accepted, the more you delay your own growth. You won't always feel brave. You won't always feel ready. But action is what builds belief. You move first, then confidence follows. You take the step, then the path becomes clearer. You start with what you have, and you build along the way. And yes, there will be mistakes. There will be setbacks. But there's nothing more painful than the regret of doing nothing. Stop assuming you need to prove something to people who aren't even living the life you want. Their approval cannot build your dream. Their permission cannot create your breakthrough. That kind of power is not theirs to give. It's yours to claim. And you claim it by acting right now, not later, not someday. You already know what you want to do. Deep down, the idea has been there. The fire has been there. The pull has been there. You've been waiting for someone to confirm it, to validate it. But what you really need is to get honest. You already have what it takes to start, not to finish, not to have it all figured out, but to begin. And that beginning is all you need today. Start where you are, do what you can, say yes to yourself. If it matters to you, that's enough. That's your reason. That's your approval. There will always be people who don't understand why you're doing what you're doing. That's not your concern. You don't owe them an explanation. You owe yourself a life you're proud to live. And remember, the longer you stay silent, the more power you give to fear. But when you move, even in small ways, fear begins to lose its grip. You learn through doing. You grow through action. You expand through challenge. But none of it starts until you move. You are allowed to take charge of your own direction. You are allowed to follow your instincts. You are allowed to trust your judgment. And every time you act without needing approval, you build the habit of courage. You reinforce that you are capable of choosing for yourself. You become someone who leads your life, not someone who waits to be led. Don't wait another day. Don't ask for one more opinion. The world does not reward those who wait. It rewards those who move. Number 4. Work daily on skills that bring you forward. Success doesn't show up out of nowhere. It doesn't appear because you hoped for it or talked about it. It arrives when you work for it every single day. And not just work in general, focused, intentional effort on the exact skills that move you in the direction you say you want to go. That's where the change begins. That's where momentum starts to build. You have to decide what matters and then do the work that matches it. When you focus your time on growing your skills, you stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You stop chasing distractions. You stop trying to look busy. You become someone who takes charge of their growth. You start each day with purpose, not with a plan to impress someone else, but with a real desire to get better. That's where strength is built, quietly, consistently, through effort no one else can see. Every skill you develop becomes a brick in the foundation of your future, and every day you skip is a day lost. You don't get time back. You don't get extra chances. What you get is what you work for. That's the simple truth, and it means you have to choose. Do you want to keep spinning in place, or do you want to move forward? You don't need to wait until everything is perfect to begin. You start where you are with what you have. You start small if you have to, but you never stay still. You take one action every single day to improve your craft, sharpen your focus, and stretch your limits. Because that's how you grow. Not by waiting, not by wishing, but by doing. Look at any person who has built something meaningful, and you'll see the same pattern. They practiced, they learned, they studied, they failed and tried again. It wasn't luck. It wasn't talent alone. It was their decision to commit to growth. Their decision to give their best to the process, even when the results weren't immediate. They kept showing up. That's the part people often ignore, the daily effort that no one claps for. Growth is not about dramatic changes. It's not about giant leaps. It's about stacking progress. Every time you study, every time you practice, every time you repeat the work, you are moving ahead. Maybe not fast, maybe not loudly, but forward, and that's what matters. Progress that lasts is built on daily effort. Most people want the reward without the routine. They want the recognition without the repetition. But that's not how real progress works. Real progress comes from discipline. It comes from choosing your development, even when you're tired, even when no one is watching, even when you'd rather do something easier. Because deep down, you know where you want to go, and you know it's going to take more than words to get there. You don't need more motivation. You need a schedule. You need habits that push you to grow, even when your mood changes. Because mood is temporary, but growth from skill building stays. It compounds. It makes you stronger. It gives you options. The more you invest in your skills, the more control you have over your future. Ask yourself, what skill can you improve that would change your direction? What do you need to study more, practice more, refine more? Then build it into your routine, not once in a while, every day, even if it's just for a short time. The habit matters more than the intensity, because habits shape your identity, and your identity shapes your destiny. You're not in competition with anyone else. You're building your own standard. You're creating the version of yourself that is capable of doing what matters. And that doesn't happen by chance. It happens through hard work, through repetition, through staying focused on what actually makes a difference. Don't let distractions steal your time. Don't let comfort pull you away from progress. Comfort never made anyone better. What makes you better is effort. Deliberate effort, consistent effort, effort that's tied to a clear goal. You don't have time to waste. You can't afford to drift. Every day you delay your growth is a day further from the life you want. You already know what skills matter in your journey. You already know what you're avoiding. It's time to face it, to lean into the work that stretches you, that challenges you, that makes you uncomfortable. Because that's where real change lives, in the middle of discomfort, in the hard practice, in the quiet repetition. Nobody is going to do it for you. You are responsible for your future. You are responsible for your effort. And if you want to move forward, you must become the kind of person who builds momentum every single day through your choices. You choose to focus. You choose to stay on track. You choose to grow. Skills are what separate dreamers from doers. You can talk about goals all day, but if you don't put in the hours to improve, you stay where you are. Talking about success doesn't bring results. Doing the work does. The work is what changes things. The work is what shapes your life. Make it part of your routine. Make it part of who you are. Practice when it's boring. Study when you're tired. Refine when no one cares. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Every small improvement adds up. Every hour spent learning pays off. Every mistake you correct makes you stronger. Don't get distracted by shortcuts. Don't get lost in the noise. Focus on your skills. They are your tools. They are your power. They are the bridge between where you are and where you want to go. If you sharpen them, you increase your chances. You raise your standards. You gain confidence. You start walking with direction. Work like your future depends on it, because it does. And the good news is, you're not waiting on anyone else. You can start now, right here, today. The results may take time, but the improvement starts immediately. Every time you show up, every time you choose growth, every time you act with purpose, you win. Number 5. Face rejection without losing belief in yourself. Rejection is part of the journey when you decide to go after something meaningful. If you want to build a life that reflects your values and dreams, you are going to hear no more times than you expect. That doesn't mean you're not good enough. That doesn't mean you should give up. It simply means you're on the path. Every person who built anything worthwhile faced rejection, and they kept going. They didn't let it define them. They didn't let it silence them. They took the hit and moved forward, because the dream meant more than the opinion of others. When you believe in something deeply, and you take steps toward it, you will run into walls. You will run into people who don't see what you see. You will face moments where everything inside you questions whether you're capable. That's natural. But here's the difference between those who grow and those who stop. Some use rejection as a reason to go harder. Others use it as an excuse to quit. You have to decide what you'll do when the door closes. Will you try again, or will you walk away? There will be times you give your best and still fall short. You'll apply, pitch, reach out, speak up, and nothing will come back. Or worse, someone will tell you you're not ready, or not right, or not enough. In that moment, it's easy to believe them. It's easy to take their words and turn them into truth. But their rejection is not your truth. Their doubt doesn't have to become your belief. You don't need their permission to keep going. You don't need their approval to trust yourself. This is your life, your vision, your responsibility. And when someone turns you down, you don't lose your value. You don't lose your potential. You only lose time if you stop. If you take that no and turn it into a final answer, then you're giving someone else control over your life. You can't do that. You have to stay in charge of your direction. You have to remind yourself why you started in the first place. Rejection hurts. It stings. It shakes your confidence if you let it. But that pain is temporary. What's lasting is how you respond. Do you shrink or do you grow? Do you hide or do you try again with more knowledge, more clarity, and more courage? Most people stop because they think rejection means they're doing something wrong. But rejection often means you're getting closer. It means you're putting yourself out there. It means you're giving life everything you've got. That's something to be proud of. You can't avoid rejection if you want to succeed. That's the truth. You can play it safe and never hear no, but you'll also never grow. You'll stay comfortable, but you'll never see what you're capable of. You'll never stretch yourself. And that's a much bigger cost than hearing a few rejections along the way. Growth lives on the other side of discomfort. And rejection is just one of those uncomfortable steps that builds your resilience. When you face rejection, remember who you are. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're in the process of building something that matters. And building takes time. It takes setbacks. It takes patience. There is no straight line to the top. There are curves. There are wrong turns. There are breakdowns. But what matters most is that you keep your belief intact. Not blind belief, earned belief. The kind that grows from knowing you're doing the work, learning the lessons, and not backing down. You've got to be your own supporter when no one else claps for you. You've got to carry your vision when others don't understand it. And you've got to keep walking when the road feels empty. That's what makes you different. That's what gives you an edge. Rejection will visit, but it doesn't have to stay. Let it come. Let it pass. Let it teach you. But don't let it control you. You're going to get better. Every time you hear a no, use it as feedback. Ask yourself what you can improve. Ask yourself what you can strengthen. That's how you grow. Not by avoiding pain, but by using it. By turning rejection into energy, into fuel, into direction. You build wisdom when you don't run from setbacks. You build depth when you allow failure to shape your next step, instead of stopping your progress. Some of the greatest breakthroughs happen right after rejection, because it pushes you to go deeper, to refine your message, to double-check your purpose, to build inner strength. You begin to ask better questions. You become more creative. You look at the problem differently. And eventually, you find a better path. One that fits who you are even more than the one you first imagined. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be real. To try, to learn, to adjust, and to persist. You are here to grow into the person who doesn't flinch at rejection, but grows from it. The person who knows their worth, even when others don't see it yet. That's real strength. That's power. That's how you earn respect, starting with your own. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You don't have to explain your dream to people who don't get it. What you have to do is stay on the path, keep moving forward, keep showing up, keep sharpening your skills and deepening your self-trust. Your belief in yourself is your anchor. Protect it, nurture it, strengthen it. That belief is what gets you back up when life knocks you down. The dream you have isn't given to everyone. It's yours. That means you carry it, you fight for it, you build it day by day. And sometimes you do it alone. Not because people don't care, but because they don't see what you see. They don't feel what you feel. That's okay. You're not doing this to impress them. You're doing this because you know deep down you're meant for more. Every time someone tells you no, remember it's just one voice. There are more doors, more chances, more opportunities, but none of them matter if you give up. Stay focused on the bigger picture. Stay committed to your own vision. You've come too far to stop now. Keep your belief strong, keep your spirit steady, and keep moving forward, no matter how many rejections try to pull you back. Number 6. Cut out distractions and protect your dream space. There's something powerful that happens when you give your full attention to what truly matters to you. When you clear out the noise, when you step away from the things pulling you in 10 different directions, when you say no to things that don't push you forward, you create space to grow. But in today's world, distractions are everywhere. Your phone lights up, someone calls, a message pops up. Suddenly, you're giving your time and energy to something that doesn't feed your goals. It happens so quickly, and you don't even realize how much time is lost. That's why it's critical to create a protected space for your dream. A space that is guarded like your future depends on it, because it does. You've got to take your time seriously. You've got to understand that every moment you spend on things that don't matter is time taken away from what could move you forward. People waste hours every day on things they won't even remember next week. If you're not careful, distractions will quietly steal your focus, your effort, your passion. They don't come with warning signs. They come dressed up as entertainment, temporary comfort, or meaningless urgency. You scroll for a minute, and suddenly an hour is gone. You watch one video, and now you've watched 5. And the problem is not just time, it's attention. Attention is your most powerful resource. Where you place it determines your results. If you allow it to be scattered, don't expect to grow. You have to take back control. You have to decide that your dream deserves a protected environment. That means building a routine that supports deep focus. That means saying no to people who drain your energy. That means creating boundaries where distractions used to live. It might mean waking up earlier. It might mean turning off notifications. It might mean telling some people you're unavailable for a while. And it's not because you don't care about others. It's because you care enough about your dream to give it the space it needs to breathe and grow. Your dream is a fragile thing at first. It's small. It's quiet. It needs attention. It needs care. And if you let distractions flood in, they will overwhelm it. They'll take the room your dream needs to expand. You can't afford that. You've got to make space in your life, space in your day, space in your mind. If you don't protect that space, no one else will. No one is going to come and say, "Here, let me guard your dream for you." That's your job. That's your responsibility. That's your role if you truly care about where you want to go. Distractions will always be available. Entertainment will always be one click away. Other people's drama will always show up. That won't change. But you can change your response. You can choose to value your time at a higher level. You can build habits that keep your mind clear. You can design your days with intention. You can create a rhythm where your energy is directed toward building your future instead of wasting your present. It starts with clarity. What do you want to build? What matters most right now? What do you want to see progress in over the next 6 months? If you don't know what matters, everything will feel equally important, and that's the problem. Without clarity, distractions look like priorities. But once you get honest about what you want to achieve, you start to see distractions for what they are, thieves of your future. They don't seem small anymore. They look like the cost of everything you say you want. And this is where discipline comes in. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a decision, a real one, the kind you feel in your bones, the kind that says, "I'm not living this year like the last one." That kind of decision pushes you to remove what doesn't serve you, to turn off what pulls you away, to cut ties with what drains your energy, to clean up your space, to organize your mind, because your dream deserves clarity, not chaos, focus, not friction. When you sit down to work on what matters, you should feel like your environment supports you. Not a desk filled with clutter, not noise in the background, not a browser filled with tabs pulling you in every direction. You deserve space where you can hear your thoughts, where you can enter a state of deep work, where you're not constantly reacting but choosing. That space is not found. It's built. It's created on purpose. And it starts when you cut out the things that don't align with who you want to become. If something keeps pulling you away from your work, ask yourself why you allow it. If someone keeps distracting you, ask yourself why you keep saying yes. Every time you protect your time, you protect your progress. Every time you say no to something that doesn't matter, you say yes to something that does. That's how you build momentum. That's how you keep your dream alive. You don't need more time. You need more focus. You need more energy directed toward the right things. You need less noise and more purpose. You need space to think clearly, space to work deeply, space to reflect, adjust, and move forward. That space doesn't just happen. You've got to fight for it. You've got to choose it every day. Because the world will give you every reason to be distracted. It will tempt you to scroll, to delay, to drift. And if you don't have a strong enough reason, you'll follow it. But you do have a reason. You have a vision. You have a goal that matters. You have something inside you that wants to grow. And that part of you is depending on your discipline. It's depending on your ability to focus. It's depending on your willingness to shut out what doesn't help. That's how dreams are built. One decision at a time. 1 hour of deep work. One boundary that protects your space. One choice to stay focused when everyone else is distracted. And every time you make that choice, you step closer to the future you want. Number 7. Take risks today or stay in regret tomorrow. The most painful thing in life is not failure. It's regret. It's looking back and knowing you had a chance to act, but you didn't. It's remembering the times when something inside you wanted to speak up, try harder, do more, and you stayed still. That kind of regret sits deep. It lingers in quiet moments and reminds you of what could have been. And most people live with that because they choose comfort over courage. They wait. They hesitate. They think they'll try next week or next year. But time doesn't wait. And life doesn't pause for you to feel ready. If you want to build something meaningful, you can't play it safe forever. You can't hide behind your doubts and expect progress. You can't stay in the same place hoping things will magically improve. Growth happens when you step into the unknown. When you make a move even if you're unsure. When you say yes before everything makes sense. That's what risk looks like. Not recklessness, but movement. You gather what you know, you prepare as best you can, and then you go. Because if you wait until you feel completely certain, you'll wait forever. You need to understand that risk is the price of progress. It's the cost of chasing something greater than your current situation. There's no success story that didn't start with someone taking a chance. Whether it was applying for a job they weren't fully qualified for, investing time into a project without a guarantee, starting something when nobody else believed in it. Those moments of risk created change. And you've got to do the same if you're serious about building a better future. Most people aren't afraid of failing. They're afraid of how they'll feel if they fail. But you have to stop treating discomfort like danger. You'll be uncomfortable when you push yourself. You'll be anxious before you make a move. That's part of the process. Those feelings don't mean stop. They mean grow. They mean you're standing at the edge of something new, and the only way forward is to act. Action is how you learn. It's how you improve. It's how you build confidence. You don't need to feel brave first. You need to act and let bravery come later. If you want change, you have to take chances. You have to be willing to step into situations where there's no safety net, not because you enjoy risk, but because you understand what's on the other side. Growth, experience, clarity. And even if it doesn't work out the way you hope, you'll walk away stronger. You'll learn something you couldn't have learned by staying still. That's what most people don't understand. Playing it safe might protect your pride, but it also limits your life. You don't grow by avoiding risk. You grow by learning to handle it. Think about where you want to be in 5 years. Ask yourself if the path you're on is getting you there. If it's not, then something has to change. And that change will require you to do something unfamiliar. It might mean reaching out to someone. It might mean leaving a job. It might mean starting a new project or putting your work out in public. Whatever it is, you'll feel fear. That's normal. But don't confuse fear with failure. You can feel afraid and still move forward. You can feel unsure and still take the step. That's how you break through. You've got to stop waiting for everything to line up. Life doesn't work that way. There will always be a reason to wait. But if you keep waiting, you'll keep wondering. And wondering is not living. Wondering means you never gave yourself a chance to see what could happen. Taking a risk gives you answers. Maybe the answer is yes. Maybe it's no. But at least you'll know. At least you'll stop asking yourself what might have been. That kind of clarity is worth every ounce of uncertainty. Start looking at risk differently. Stop seeing it as something to fear. Start seeing it as a bridge, a necessary part of the journey. Every time you avoid it, you delay your growth. Every time you face it, you open the door to new opportunities. The people you admire didn't avoid risk. They embraced it. They knew it was the only way forward. You have to decide if you're willing to do the same. Not just once, but consistently, again and again, because that's what success demands. The truth is, time moves fast. The years pass whether you take action or not. The question is, what are you going to have to show for it? Will you be proud of the chances you took, or disappointed by the ones you ignored? That's a question only you can answer. But whatever your answer is, let it shape what you do today. Let it remind you that playing it safe can cost you more than trying and failing ever could. The risk of stepping out might be real, but the cost of staying stuck is always greater. Don't make the mistake of trading long-term fulfillment for short-term comfort. Take the leap. Say what you need to say. Do what you've been thinking about for months. Move even if it's slow. Because even one bold step can change your life's direction. Even one decision can build momentum that pushes you forward in ways you didn't expect. Number 8. Write your goals down and review them daily. If your dream really matters to you, you can't leave it sitting in your mind like a passing thought. You've got to bring it out into the open where you can see it every single day. Because here's the truth. Life is noisy. People will ask for your time. The world will pull your attention. And distractions will steal your energy. If you don't have something clear to guide you, writing your goals down is not just about being organized. It's about getting serious. It's about proving to yourself that your dream is not just an idea, it's a mission. When you take the time to write down what you want, you make it real. It stops being something you'll maybe get around to, and becomes something you're now committed to. Putting your goals on paper creates direction. It gives your mind something to focus on, and it builds a sense of ownership. You start to feel responsible for making progress. You no longer drift through your days hoping things go well. You wake up with a reason that belongs to you and no one else. Writing your goals down gives you structure. It helps you cut through the chaos of daily life. You know exactly what you're working toward, and that alone puts you ahead of most people. Because most people never decide. They wake up and react to whatever the day brings. They check messages, scroll through distractions, and by the end of the day, they're tired but empty. You don't want that. You want to know that the energy you gave today moved you an inch closer to something that matters. That's why reviewing your goals every day is just as important as writing them down. You don't just write them once and forget about them. You look at them. You read them. You think about them when you wake up and before you go to bed. Why? Because the more you see something, the more it becomes part of how you think. You start making choices based on it. You start evaluating your time differently. If your goal is right there in front of you, you begin to ask, is what I'm doing right now helping me or hurting me? This habit shapes your actions without needing constant motivation. The written goal becomes your compass. Even on hard days, it reminds you what matters. Even when you're discouraged, it gives you something to hold on to. And over time, it builds discipline. It builds the habit of focus. You stop wasting hours. You stop chasing things that don't belong to your future, because now your mind knows where it's going. Another reason to write your goals down is accountability. Not to others, to yourself. Once it's written, you can't lie to yourself anymore. If you don't follow through, you see it right there in black and white. That quiet pressure pushes you. It makes you think harder about your choices. It makes you respect your own word. That matters, because when you break promises to yourself, it chips away at your confidence. But when you honor your own goals, even in small steps, it builds self-trust. And self-trust is one of the most powerful things you can have. The people who achieve what they want aren't always the most talented or lucky. They're the ones who stayed consistent. They had a goal in front of them every day, and they moved toward it even when it was difficult. They didn't let it fade away. They didn't let it become a someday dream. They turned it into a plan. They broke it down. They kept it in sight. That's what daily review does. It keeps you from drifting. It keeps you from losing momentum. Now, don't just write vague goals like be successful or get in shape. That won't help. Be specific. Write what success looks like to you. Write how you'll know you're on track. Put a timeline next to it. Put details in it. That way, when you read it, you can feel something. You can visualize it. You can see what kind of person you need to become to reach it. This is how your brain starts building a path. Clarity helps you act. Vagueness keeps you stuck. You'll also notice that when you start doing this every day, your priorities change. You stop saying yes to things that drain you. You stop filling your day with low-value tasks, because now your goal is not just in your head, it's staring at you. It's calling you to take it seriously. It pushes you to schedule your time differently. It forces you to ask harder questions like, what am I actually doing to earn this? That kind of pressure is good. That kind of pressure drives growth. Another benefit is that it reminds you of your progress. Sometimes you feel stuck, not because you haven't grown, but because you forgot how far you've come. Reviewing your goals lets you see where you were a month ago or a year ago. It shows you what's working and what needs to change. It lets you adjust your strategy without losing sight of the bigger vision. You stay flexible but committed. That's how you make real progress. You'll also find that reviewing your goals keeps your energy high. You don't burn out from hard work. You burn out from meaningless work. But when you know your effort is tied to a goal that matters, you feel alive. Even on tough days, you know why you're showing up. That kind of purpose lifts your mood. It gives you strength to keep pushing. It adds meaning to the routine. If you haven't been writing your goals down, start now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Just grab a notebook. Write what you want and why you want it. Make it real. Make it visible. Then read it again tomorrow and the next day. Let it shape your decisions. Let it remind you who you want to be. Let it become part of how you think and how you live. Because a written goal reviewed daily becomes more than just a wish. It becomes a command to your future. Number 9. Surround yourself only with people who push growth. One of the hardest but most important decisions you will ever make is choosing who gets access to your time and your energy. When you are fighting for your dream, when you are trying to build something that matters to you, you cannot afford to be around people who are pulling you backward. Growth is not just about what you do. It's about what you allow around you. And if the people near you aren't challenging you to do better, be better, think sharper, live stronger, then you are standing still or even moving in reverse without knowing it. Look closely at the people in your life. Do they ask you about your goals? Do they talk about progress? Do they live in a way that inspires you to level up? Or are they constantly making excuses, finding problems in every solution, staying stuck in the same cycle, and calling that normal? Because if they are doing that, it's only a matter of time before you start copying them. That's what happens. Environment shapes behavior. And when you allow low standards in your environment, you start adjusting to those standards without even realizing it. People who push growth don't let you stay small. They ask you the tough questions. They challenge your comfort. They speak truth even when it's uncomfortable. They want to see you win, but they want you to earn it. They hold you to what you said. They bring out more of your potential, not less. That kind of energy creates movement. It forces your mindset to expand. It gives you the push you didn't know you needed. Now, this doesn't mean you need to be surrounded by successful people all the time. It means you need to be surrounded by people who are trying, people who care about their future, people who are putting in the work, people who are honest enough to admit their weaknesses, but strong enough to do something about them. Growth is not about perfection, it's about progress. And when you are around people who are hungry for progress, it's contagious. You've got to protect your mental space like your future depends on it, because it does. One conversation with the wrong person can plant a seed of doubt that takes days or weeks to shake off. One sarcastic comment about your ambition can turn into a voice in your head that slows you down. One negative influence can start to distort your view of what's possible. Don't underestimate how powerful the people around you are. You either rise with them or you shrink with them. If someone constantly belittles your vision, if they mock your efforts or ignore your wins, pay attention. That is not love. That is not support. That is not someone who wants you to grow. That is someone projecting their own limits onto your life, and if you stay around that energy long enough, you'll start building your dream with hesitation instead of belief. You'll start editing your ambition to keep them comfortable. That's a dangerous path. Don't walk it. Find people who clap when you improve. Find people who are not intimidated by your progress but inspired by it. People who share resources, not gossip. People who talk about books and habits and results, not just problems and drama. People who are too focused on building something great to waste time pulling others down. That's the kind of circle that strengthens your direction. That's the kind of environment that speeds up your growth. You may have to walk away from certain relationships to protect your dream. That's not easy. But keeping the wrong people around just because it's familiar will cost you more than distance ever will. You can love people from afar. You can respect them without inviting them into your inner space. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your journey. That seat is earned by behavior, not history. Once you create a space where only growth-minded people are allowed, your own thinking starts to shift. You start speaking differently. You start moving with more purpose. You stop explaining your goals to people who don't understand, and start building with people who do. You waste less time defending yourself and more time improving yourself. You begin to see that your dream is not just something you want, it's something you're committed to, and you're willing to protect it from anything that threatens it, even if that threat comes dressed as a familiar face. It's not about being cold, it's about being clear. Clear on what you're here to do. Clear on what you're willing to accept. Clear on how valuable your time is. Clear on how serious your dream is. And when you are that clear, people notice. The wrong ones get uncomfortable and fade. The right ones lean in and support. That's how you build an environment of accountability and forward motion. Even if you don't have people around you right now who push growth, you can still build that space. Start by becoming that person yourself. Set the standard. Lead by example. Focus on your development so strongly that it naturally attracts others who are doing the same. Share what you're learning. Stay consistent with your goals. And soon enough, your circle will start to reflect the path you're on. You owe it to yourself to be surrounded by voices that lift you, not drain you. By people who see what you're capable of, not just what you've been. By minds that think big, speak real, and act with intention. That kind of energy creates momentum you can't fake. That kind of energy keeps you moving on days when your own motivation is low, and that's why it matters. Not because it's nice to have support, but because growth is hard enough without carrying people who are trying to hold you back. Number 10. Show discipline when motivation is no longer there. Motivation is exciting, but it doesn't stay. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days you wake up feeling ready to take on the world, and other days you can't even find the energy to get out of bed. That's normal. Everyone feels that. The mistake most people make is waiting for motivation to return before they act again. They pause their goals, they hold off on their routines. They stop chasing their dream until that rush of energy shows up again. That's a trap. That's how years pass and nothing changes. If you want to move forward even when you don't feel like it, you need discipline. Not rules, not pressure. Discipline. Discipline means you do what matters even when the excitement is gone. Discipline is quiet. It doesn't need applause. It's not loud or flashy. It's you showing up to the work when no one's watching. It's waking up on time when your body wants another hour of sleep. It's sticking to your plan when distractions call your name. It's staying consistent even when there's no visible result yet. That's where real change happens. In the silence, in the effort, in the follow-through. Think of all the moments when it would have been easier to quit, but you didn't. That wasn't motivation. That was you being clear about what you wanted. That was you refusing to lose momentum. And the more you choose discipline over emotion, the stronger you get. Not just physically, but mentally. Because now you're not depending on a feeling to take action. You're depending on a choice. And that choice gives you control over your day, your progress, your dream. Most people never reach their goals, not because they lack potential, but because they only act when they feel good. But life doesn't reward you based on your moods. Life rewards effort. Life rewards consistency. Motivation might inspire you to start, but it's discipline that finishes the job. That's what separates the ones who build a life they're proud of from the ones who only talk about it. When motivation fades, your mind will offer excuses. It'll say, take a break just for today. It'll say, you're tired. You deserve to skip this one. That voice sounds convincing. But that's where discipline steps in. Discipline says, do it anyway. Discipline doesn't argue. It decides. It understands that small decisions today lead to big results tomorrow. Every time you follow through, you strengthen that part of yourself that can be trusted. That part of yourself that doesn't give in to the first sign of discomfort. It's not about pushing to exhaustion. It's about building habits that run even when your mood doesn't. Discipline gives you something motivation can't. Stability. When things go wrong, when your emotions dip, when doubt creeps in, discipline keeps you going. It becomes your anchor. It keeps you steady while everything else shifts. That's why it's so valuable. Because when the days get hard, and they will, discipline is what keeps your dream alive. You don't have to feel amazing to take action. You don't have to be in a great mood to make progress. You just have to decide that what you said you want matters more than how you feel in the moment. That's how you win. Not once, not twice, but every single day, you choose structure over impulse. The longer you do this, the easier it becomes. Your mind starts to trust you. Your body starts to follow your lead. Your results start to reflect your effort, not your emotions. You will never be motivated every day. No one is. Not the successful people you admire, not the ones who built something great. They didn't get there by relying on hype or hype videos or some magical energy. They got there because they worked when it wasn't easy. They kept going when it didn't feel fun. They stayed locked in when their emotions were dragging them out. That's what made them strong. That's what gave them momentum. That's what helped them break through. Your discipline is your edge. It's your way of taking back control. It's what makes you dependable, not just to others, but to yourself. Think about how powerful that is, to be able to count on yourself every day, no matter what. To know that even if motivation doesn't show up, you will. That mindset doesn't just help you reach goals. It builds a version of you that can't be broken by bad days, low moods, or missed applause. Every act of discipline is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. Every time you do the work, even when it's hard, you're proving that your dream is real. Not just a wish, not just a hope, but a priority. Something you've decided is worth your time, your effort, your attention. You don't need to feel motivated to write, to train, to study, to build. You just need to remember why you started. And then you act on that reason. Not your feelings, not your comfort, not your surroundings, your reason. That's how you grow. Not by avoiding hard days, but by moving through them with discipline. You keep showing up. You keep putting in the work. You keep choosing your future over your feelings. And little by little, that discipline shapes your life. It shows up in your results. It shows up in your confidence. It shows up in the way you carry yourself, because you know you earned where you're standing. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being committed. No matter the weather, no matter the mood, no matter how far the finish line feels, you stay with it. You do the work. You honor the dream, because you said you would.